Good morning. Today is Monday, August 27th, and for Davis School District teachers, today is Back to School Day, a day of fresh starts, new students, new books, new pencils, all of those things that I've always loved about going back to school. And except for the fact that I work summers now, I've been going back to school for 45 years. So that's an exciting time of the year for me. I love everything about going back to school. Well, I don't like all the work because last night I had to work way too much, well, all weekend, getting ready for back to school for the district's world languages teachers. And today we have our first meeting. It starts in about an hour, so I've got to get out of here. But I want to talk to you a little bit about fresh starts because it's one of the things I love best. And as I was getting ready yesterday for the meetings today, I had on CNN because I'm a little bit addicted to political television, and on CNN last night, Gloria Borger did a fabulous story on Ann Romney, and all the commentators from CNN, Aaron Burnett, Anderson Cooper, they all sat around and were talking about the Romneys in general and Ann's story in particular, and even crotchety, unreal James Carville, who is probably the most like that of any person I know. Even he had glowing things to say about these reports on the Romneys and Anne. And watching these people talk, and especially I think we know James Carville is very, very left-wing in his thinking. And CNN, a lot of people think, is one way. And to have them just say fabulous things about the Republican presidential nominee and his wife, I thought was just gave me such hope for the future and for a fresh start for politics in this country in general. And over the past few years in this country, we have seen partisan politics like we've never seen before. I've heard some people say, well, it's always been like this. But as I've researched it more and more, it hasn't always been like this. And in fact, I read one report from the Washington Post that said, well, yes, it has been like this at other times in the future or in the past, like during the era leading up to the Civil War. And I thought, well, I certainly don't want us to be compared to how things were before the Civil War, but we do have to look at the times now and see how vitriolic and mean-spirited our political opponents have become and how we have become that way towards them. And let's think of doing a fresh start like our students and like our teachers are doing, and put aside the partisan politics like that and do what's best for the country. Our Congress this past several years have never had a lower rating. I think someone said that it's pretty much just their friends and relatives now that like them, and it's down into the single digits, and it's because they're so bent on making a statement, making sure the other party has no victories, that none of us are getting any victories, and they're not doing the things that they should for the people because they're so dedicated to making sure that they don't work together. And when people start taking pride in their ability to not work together and to not do the right thing for the country, it is definitely time for a fresh start. And so in that, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of the partisan politics that I've experienced and ask your help in getting them to stop, or at least taking a look at them and realizing what's going on. Over the past few months, even as I've started to run for office, I've seen people that I thought were my friends who can no longer be friends with me, even though I'm the same person I was a year or two ago. People in my own family now can no longer associate with me, even though I'm their same sister or aunt or whatever as I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. And to see the divisiveness that politics can cause in people and relationships is really heartbreaking. And I'm wondering if it's really all worth it. In this country, we each get to choose our political affiliations or not. Democrat, Independent, Republican, Libertarian, whatever it is, we get to choose. And I like to think of myself like this, and maybe you do too. First, I'm an American. Second, I'm a Utahn. Then I'm a mom, a woman, lots of things. Then at the end, I'm a Democrat. And like me, you and everyone else gets to choose the political affiliation that most closely reflects our ideals and our desires and the things we hold dear. It doesn't change who we are as people. We're still the same neighbor, the same sister, the same friend as we are before. It's just a political affiliation and nothing more. And when I see people spreading such hate towards one party or another, it really breaks my heart. Just this past week on Facebook, one of my relatives posted a photograph of a billboard, and on that photograph were the Navy SEALs in full regalia with automatic weapons, and it said something along the lines of, the Navy SEALs took out Osama bin Laden, let's hope they do the same with President Obama. And I found it so sad that people in our own country would choose to be against a president like that, and I don't even know why there's such hatred there, and to do it with such intensity and in such a way that reflects violence and equating him to a terrorist. I absolutely don't get it. I certainly think that we can disagree. We can agree to disagree. We can have our own ideas, and we should have our own ideas. But that should never come down to where we're hoping ill for another person or celebrating their demise or even talking about it like that, because I was raised in a home where we had our political ideas, but it wasn't to be against someone else. I just find that the office of president is one that's very low paying, very low respect, requires so much of a person in the way of the time it takes away from their family, from their career. And I know a lot of people may think that someone went on for president for the glory or for the fame or for some sort of evil design, but I just can't imagine that that's the way it is, because in my lifetime, even when there's been people in office that I've disagreed with, I really believe that they've gone into that office with best intentions, trying to do what they think is right. And so I would love to see us get a fresh start and think about our political affiliations at this time and what they mean to us and what respecting our country and our state and our friends and relatives mean to us. And again, going back to the CNN coverage last night, as I watched them talk about Ann and Mitt Romney, I thought about the beginning this week of the Republican National Convention. And later this month, we'll have the Democratic National Convention. And we don't have to agree with the parties or their platforms. And even people within a party, I bet, don't agree with everything on a platform. But in the end, we're all Americans. And as this week starts, and as the Republican National Convention starts tomorrow, I celebrate with them. I celebrate with them their nominee for president, who is a good man, who has a good family, with a wife he loves, and who loves him, with children he has raised the best he can, who has had a good career and is now willing to run for office in this nation. And to watch the Republicans now have a chance to nominate in peace, without threat of death or violence, as would happen in many countries when a group of people get together with political ideas. That's often what happens. And we get to watch it happen in peace and celebration this week. And later this month, when the Democrats nominate President Obama as their candidate, the same thing will happen. It'll be a celebration, it'll be a party, and it'll happen in relative peace and happiness. And as Americans, we should celebrate this and say, look at how great this country is. We can do this nomination process in peace. We can celebrate our political parties. We can celebrate the way this country is run and has been run for centuries. And so in that spirit today, in the spirit of a fresh start, I hope you would join me in putting aside mean-spirited partisan politics and celebrate the people who are willing to run for office, the people who are currently in office, and hope that they will do what's right for the country and not get involved in the negative. Thank you. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.